Hi Eric, my love. What's up? Look at what I'm dressed. This is how I'm going to work. This is for my lymph nodes. So this is the lymph node support. This is the Manukora honey. And this is the Shilajit from the Himalayas. This has 84 trace minerals. All from Amazon. I ran out of lemons. So my water today doesn't have lemons. Oh, my tea. Where's my lunchbox? I can't find my lunchbox. Uh-uh. Whoa. I can find my lunchbox. Where is it? Oh my god, did I bring it home? Let me check my car. Lunchbox. I'm getting prepared this morning. So I had some food. This lunchbox stinks because I left some food here. The salad. Ooh, you. It stinks. It really does stink. Ooh-wee. I didn't know that if the salad dressing goes inside your lunchbox, it's going to stink. And now that I left this in the car, my car smells like dead things. I'm preparing food for today so I can go to work. Parker. How's it going? I'm in the hustle and bustle of my mornings, you know, because today I told my boss I'll be at work early. I am good. I'm doing good. I'm just preparing for my morning to go to work. Your English is not so good. Mine neither. Mine neither. I'm just practicing as I go along. I forgot my makeup bag. 1 second. I don't like to forget my makeup bag when I'm going to work because, you know, I made a choice. I'm going to remain beautiful. There are choices that I have made before I'm 40. The things that I've already made a choice of. I'm a Christian. I love God. I take good care of my health. I remain joyful. Joy is a strategy for me. What else have I decided by the time I'm done? I love singing. So the things, and I love tea, masala tea. You know that kind of Indian tea, the tea they make? The Indians like that kind of tea with spices. And I love that. That's what I make in the morning. Anyway, today's topic, and I don't have a lot of time because today I'm leaving to work early. And let's talk about making God your friend. Because you can make the relationship with God, anything you want. Seriously, anything that you want, you hold all the cards when you decide what kind of a relationship you're going to have with God. You see, Enoch decided to become God's friend. In the book of Enoch decides to become God's friend, and God walked with him. God walked with Enoch because he decided to become his friend. God protected David because David decided to make God his protector. And David was one of the most hunted men in the Bible. People wanted to see David dead, and David made God his protector. Remember, Saul wanted to kill David. David made God his protector. His own son, Absalom, wanted to kill him, and David made God protect him. He decided the relationship between him and God, that God was going to be his protector. So you have the cards to decide what relationship you want to be with God. Enoch needed a friend, and Enoch made God his friend. Enoch walked with God. Enoch could talk to God the way I'm talking to you, because Enoch made God his friend. David made God protect him because he wanted victory. King Saul made God his enemy. King Saul became an enemy of God. Jezebel became an enemy of God. Pharaoh became an enemy of God. And so you decide the relationship you want to have with God. But please do not make God your enemy. Hey, you've seen people who've made God his enemy, their enemy. They have turned him into an enemy and he destroyed them. You will never win a battle between you and the Almighty. So you decide what relationship you want, but I caution you not to make God your enemy. As long as it's not that one, because it will not end for anyone well who decides to make an enemy out of God. And you can become an enemy of God easily by not paying attention, by being ignorant. You can walk a path, that you find yourself as an enemy of God. I find like King Saul, he probably did not mean to become an enemy of God, but he ended up making so many bad mistakes that he's being told, do this, he does the opposite. He's being told, when you go to this foreign land and you kill everything, but he leaves some things so that his men can take some animals, some cows. He lets them have that, but he was instructed to kill and destroy everything because that place had been evil, it had been tainted. But he didn't listen, and he kept he kept being ignorant, ignoring God. And that's how most of us, we become enemies of God, because over time we don't listen to God's voice. We end up doing our own thing. Turns into this terrible thing, and you keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and over time you become an enemy of God, and it's small things. And I had to admit it, like, you have sex outside of marriage, right? You do it once, you excuse it the next time, the next time, the next time, the next time. You go for decades, right? Having sex out of marriage, and then you don't realize you've become an enemy of God. You don't realize, but you've walked the path that he didn't set out that you walk, and bad things keep happening. You get heartbreaks, you get failed relationships, you get all that things that he never intended on your path. But these bad things happen. Why? Because you have decided to become an enemy of God. You don't realize that there are consequences whenever you decide to become an enemy of God. So, all of you guys who are out there, and I have done it, having sex out of marriage, then you're getting heartbroken, then people are dumping you, then you have this to deal with this heartbreak. Some of us, they get diseases, stuff like that, is because you walked the wrong path. You became an enemy of God, and you thought there was not going to be consequences, but sure enough, there are consequences. You can decide the kind of relationship that you must have with God, but he doesn't compromise on obedience. Obedience brings mashiaro, what do you call it? There is wages of obedience, and that is blessings. The wages of obedience equals blessings. So that's that. That's that. What I should make what burn high? What do you say? I should make a like this band like a little bit higher like that. Is that what you mean? Like this? I need to buy some hair accessories. I'll get some. Right now I'm kind of in a budget. I'm on a budget. I'm on a budget. There's so many things that I would like to do, but For now, they will have to wait. But it kind of looks cute. It has to wait because I'm on a budget. Girl is on a budget. I'm not one of those social media people who have like all the money in the world. They can do whatever, you know. I need to save to get some hair accessories. And I need to save for the winter to buy some stockings because it's going to get cold and get a coat and stuff like that. Anyway, yeah, that was my message today. What kind of a relationship do you want to have with God? You know, you decide that. Any relationship starts with obedience. Even Christ had to be obedient. For Christ to to fulfill his mission on the planet, he had to live a life without sin. You know, because we are sinners, he had to live without sin so that he can redeem us from evil. So Jesus was not tempted by, you know, he was tempted, but he wasn't falling into sin. You think Jesus didn't see beautiful women? He saw them. He saw them. He was, you know, there's temptation everywhere. The devil tried to sell Jesus the world if he could bow down and worship him. But Jesus would not do that. He would not bow down to the devil. So you see, you will have temptations also in this life. But you can decide the relationship you want to have with God. Throughout the Bible, you know, Jesus, you know, the relationship he has with God is the father and son relationship. You can decide to have a child and father relationship with God. You can make God your husband if you're lonely. You can make God your friend if you need a friend. You can make God your closest friend like Enoch did. You decide the relationship, and who you decide God is to you, that is who he becomes. If you make God Jireh, your provider, he's going to give you, he's going to be providence in your life. If you make God your peace, he is going to give you peace. If you make God your joy and you give him praise, he is going to fill your heart with everlasting joy. People will be looking at you and they'll be wondering where this well of happiness, you know, you're magnetic, you're happy. They'll be wondering, where is this all coming from? Every good things come from the Lord. Every good thing comes from the Lord. If you want health, if you want protection, every good thing comes from the Lord. And your relationship with God determines who he's going to be in your life. There are people who find peace and they're going through divorce. They've lost a child, or a child is in hospital. They have bills, and they make God their shalom, and God gives them peace in a situation where you would think people would give up. In a situation where you think people would, you know, their heart, they would not take heart, you find that that person is the one giving you encouragement. That person is the one, you know, making you wonder, you know, what is happening. Like, this person can go through this so much, so many things, and yet come out so strong. Sometimes we wonder about these kinds of people because the gifts of God are different in every man's life. Like Joseph could interpret dreams. The only thing that King Pharaoh needed was somebody who could interpret dreams. And Joseph could do that. You know, he can make you decide what relationship you're going to have. But Joseph had decided his relationship with God was going to be obedience. You know, Joseph was very, very obedient to God. Even when he was enslaved, even when he was thrown into jail, he remained faithful. you know, and God became so faithful to him because he was very, very faithful. So you decide, you decide what relationship that you want. David, you see David killing Goliath, you see David escaping Saul, you see David escaping Absalom's wrath, because David learned to accomplish things in prayer. He learned the power of prayer. He learned the power of asking God for mercy. You know, when David murdered an innocent man, he knew for sure God was going to end his life. But God spared his life because God had already decided David's fate, that he was going to be his protector. But his son died, you know, the one that he had with Bathsheba died. But God still spared David's life. He still spared David's life because David had established a relationship with God, and God could not break it. Even when David was so wrong, God still spared his life because God had already become his protector. And he wasn't going to abandon him even at, at the very worst. Like he had done a heinous crime, a heinous sin against the Lord, and still God protected him. God still saw David, you know, and he looked the other way. He delivered his punishment, but he spared him. God can spare you even when you have done a heinous thing. You know, I met this guy, and he was in a gang. He had been in a gang, and the leader of his gang, he was in a gang when he was like 15, 14, and the leader of the gang told him, you either kill your friend or I kill you, you know. So either his friend was going to kill him or he was going to kill his friend. They were given that choice. Anyway, he ended up killing his friend. And when I met him, when I heard about his story, he was like 40. He was around 40. He had gone, after that, he had gone to the pastor, and the pastor had asked, can God forgive me for this thing that I did? And the pastor told him, no, God cannot forgive murder. I don't know what pastor was that, but God can forgive you if you're truly repentant from your heart. He can forgive you. So this young man, he was only 15. He ended up having so many mental health problems because he believed that God could not forgive him because somebody had given him wrong advice. And I know for sure how sad it is when your conscience feels broken and then you feel like you cannot be forgiven. That is pure hell, and it can cause a lot of mental health problems when you believe that God cannot forgive you. God can forgive. He says, as far the east is from the west, that is how he forgives our sins. So never ever go one day thinking that God has condemned you, that he's never going to forgive you for something. God is a merciful, loving being. If he didn't want you to be here, you wouldn't be here. Okay? So if he decided that you are so unforgivable that he did not want you to see tomorrow, why are you still breathing? Why are you still breathing? Because we live by his grace. The fact that you're breathing, it's a sign of his grace and mercy upon your life. So to tell somebody who is alive and breathing that they have reached, God has reached their limit upon their life, that is a lie. It's against the whole Bible. And so this young man was disturbed for a long time because he thought that God cannot forgive him. He got the wrong advice. That's why I say read the Bible for yourself. Do not let the enemy deceive you. Do not let the enemies of your destiny deceive you. Read the Word of God so that you get to know God personally, so that you can get to set the intention of your relationship that you'll have with Him, so that people cannot come and tell you things like God can never forgive you if you did this and that and that, and like, it's important that you decide the relationship that you have with God. You decide that relationship. Like Enoch decided to become God's friend. David decided to make God his protector. Jesus declared himself as the Son of God. He is the Son of God. King Saul made himself an enemy of God. Pharaoh made himself an enemy of God. And you can go through the Bible, you can see people like Moses, the kind of relationship that they had with God. Moses was a stammerer. He could not speak without stammering. And God made him a leader of Israel. He made him the person who delivered them from slavery, a stammerer. Somebody who could be written off. God made him the leader of Israel. So you decide the relationship you want to have with God. You are the one. God will become who you make him to be in your life. Because you are the one who decides. You hold all the cards. You're holding all the cards. If you decide to make him your friend, he's going to be your friend. If you make him to be your peace, he's going to give you peace. If you make God your joy, he's going to give you everlasting joy. Like, what are you gonna decide? He's the most powerful being in the universe, and you're invited into his presence to get to know him personally, to develop a relationship with him. It develops through obedience. You have to start with obedience. The reason why you cannot go have a relationship with God without obedience is this one thing. God is a holy being. I am saved, but I am such a sinner that, there is a separation, the wall between us and God. We can talk to God face to face if there was no sin between us. If there wasn't a sin, because he is holy and we are kind of undone. So if you're not going through obedience, you're really separating yourself more and more and more. That's why the relationship starts with you being obedient, and then you start trying to close the distance. When you decide to make your ways holy, your ways righteous, you start closing the distance between him and you. So that's that for today. Yeah, I hope you like my channel. Subscribe, like. When I take time before work to do a video in the morning. So yeah, that's the word for today. You decide. Make a relationship with God. So I love you guys. I'm off to work. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.